Hi everyone, welcome to this new episode of Into Oblivion. And today we'll be taking a look into the world of AWS certifications. So for this I invited two of my guests. Left of me is Steyn.
Welcome.
Hi Steyn, welcome back to the studio.
Thank you. It has been a while, yeah.
Indeed, yeah. So maybe go ahead, introduce yourself.
Steyn Huizinga, CTO and Cloud Consultant at Oblivion Cloud Control.
Cool, thanks. And a new one for the studio, Karlijn, welcome.
Exciting, thanks. Karlijn Teunissen and HR Specialist at Oblivion.
So I invited you both here to talk about AWS certifications. Steyn, for example, you have, I believe, 8 certifications with many recertifications.
Yep.
So can you tell a bit about your experience with this whole topic?
It's a very broad topic, to be honest, because getting certified is a thing, but I think there's more underneath it, especially in our case as a consultancy company. In my case, my first certification, it started a bit as a joke, because I went to re:Invent and there was a certification appreciation party, and you are only allowed to enter if you are certified. So I had to do a pressure cooker and get my certification. That was the first one. The other ones after that were slightly different because I had more time and there was a different reasoning behind it.
But you did the first one during re:Invent.
Actually, because you have a jet lag, and I thought, maybe it's a good idea to do that early in the morning because you're awake at 3 or 4 o'clock. So I took the exam at 7 in the morning, and I believe the party was during the afternoon, so I had to pass.
Funny.
Oh, this is like a certified lounge, right?
There was also a certified lounge, with a bit of free perks, a space to sit and have a soft drink, etc.
Okay, yeah. But how do you normally prepare how did you prepare for the dose afterwards? Is there like a whole study process, step-by-step plan, or?
So I did the first one after my first months of starting at Oblivion. But the pro certification, I think that there was a whole track leading to that certification. There was not much time in between, but I believe the pro one is I've done that based on experience rather than learning from the, let's say, books. Yeah. So there was a lot of practical knowledge put into the questions and especially the answers.
Yeah, that was for your pro certificate, right?
Yeah, so that was pro. Yeah.
Is there like a big difference between, because you have a lot of different certifications, all the way from practitioner. Karlijn, you and I are also now working on practitioner.
Yeah.
So that's more theory based, of course, like really laying down the groundwork of AWS.
Yeah.
And then you move to the associate and eventually developer and pro, I believe.
Yeah. So the pro certifications are more in depth, and the big difference is with the associate ones, you can easily rule out 2 answers because they're completely wrong, and then 2 that possibly make sense. Then it's just a 50-50 chance that you the right answer. But if you go to the pro certification and go to the questions, they are longer and they are about multiple dimensions. So you have to choose not for example, an architecture that works, but it should also be the most cost-effective one or the most scalable one. And that's slightly different, and also the questions are longer. You have more questions. You also have 150 minutes to complete the exam, so it's a bit tougher.
Okay.
And you also have the specialties, right?
Yeah. So the specialties are, I think that they are similar to the pro ones. Big difference is that they are focused on a specific area. Yeah. So you have the security specialty, data specialty. I believe you have 2 data specialties now with data and databases and AI ML. The big difference.
And was it also the path that you took, from perhaps practitioner to associate to a pro and then your specialties, or are there ways to maybe cut corners or go straight into?
Yeah, my journey was slightly different because it started a couple of years ago, and there was no practitioner by the time. Okay. So I started with associate, then I took a pro one, solution architect both. Then I did all the associates first. So the solution architect, developer and sysops. Then I went for pro solution architect, DevOps pro, and then I was all 5 certified, the highest you can achieve by that time. And then later on they came up with specialties, and then even later with practitioner. So practitioner is one of my last exams I took before the recertification train hits me.
Yeah, Karlijn, talk about practitioner. How is it for you? Because you are obviously not in a technical role, but you still are heavily involved with either new colleagues or
Yeah, indeed, that was also the reason why I wanted to do the practitioner. I'm still learning, so I'm not achieving it yet. But indeed, during recruitment processes, basically candidates talk about their experience, about the project they really liked, and I can understand a lot of words, so I always tell I can do a bingo with Lambda, S3, CloudFormation, Python. I know all the words, but what it really means or what you can do with it, that's very difficult for me to understand yet. So that's the reason why I wanted to do the cloud practitioner and also to talk with colleagues about, for example, development or certifications. Then it would be nice if I could be, if I have a bit more knowledge about what you guys are doing in this field, because for me it's now a bit like a cloud thing. Yeah, I can't understand it really.
It's nice that I also did a practitioner, of course. So it really brings a more feeling to all these loose terms and really puts you into a perspective of all the actual technical guys, of course. From an HR recruitment perspective, what do you really look at when you see those certifications? Is it
for us it's more like an indication of where people stand or what their journey would be or it was. But a certification, of course, it's important to see your level or where you are. But of course, practical and on-the-job experience and knowledge is of course also very important. So we see a lot of candidates that don't ever had to take exams. So they did some cloud guru stuff, but they never took really the exam. But they are very knowledgeable and did a lot of projects. So then the knowledge and experience is also there. But of course the certification, it's just an achievement thing, and then we can see really that you're able to study for something, achieve the exam and then afterwards work with it, for example. So it's just an indication to see for us where your stands at that point. And also for the specialties, of course, you see which topics someone really likes. So if someone did the specialty in security or something, then it's for us an indication that, this one's really focused or interested in security stuff, etc.
Yeah, and for us as a company, it's not really mandatory to have the certifications, right?
No.
And certification on its own is wordless, I would say.
Yeah.
But for us it would be weird, because we think we are one of the best consultancy companies on AWS here in this region. It would be weird to not have certifications if you are not certified. That would not contribute to the statement that we are one of the best. So it's more like the other way around. We get them because we have the knowledge. It is not that we fake the knowledge by having the certifications.
No. And in the end, of course, clients also can rely a bit on it. Like, people have certifications, so they are experienced in kind of way.
Yeah, so I can remember the moment I got the 5th certification, I got all 5. I posted something on LinkedIn which completely led to a new journey at a customer, because you are all 5 certified. If he would ask for help, AWS help, who are you going to call? Not Ghostbusters, but in this case Oblivion.
Yeah, because you also mentioned like the pro certificates. They really take some use cases from real life problems that you have to solve. So, as experience as a cloud consultant, how close are they really with practice and those simulations in the exams?
Not very close, because in the end you only have a couple of lines to work with. So if you take the pro exams, the question of the length of the questions is mostly half a paper, A4. So those are a bit lengthy, but not lengthy enough to get all the details. And in reality, you have a lot of parameters to twist, so that there are a lot of inputs that make that you make a different decision. During an exam, I always say, oh well, I'm missing this and this information to make a proper decision. In real life, I would probably choose a different answer. And with the limited information you have, and you also know that AWS wants to see a specific answer, because if DynamoDB is one of the answers, most likely DynamoDB is the right answer. So there's really a push towards the AWS services. So the questions are good, but they are not matching the real life questions.
Okay, but still you could say that because you have this real life experience, you can really still put yourself into the position of the context of the question, and combine your work experience with what's now being asked on the spot.
Yeah, and also to rule out the answers that don't make sense, because that's what I always do to validate my answer. The other answers, are they completely wrong? Yes, they are. Well, then I can skip those.
And of course, in terms of knowledge, we are usually studying with Cloud Guru. Perhaps are there other sources of study material that you prefer or have at hand during times of preparation for such an exam?
My main source is self-study, so I can study on demand whenever I like. I can study, but I really like to read blogs about those topics. Whenever somebody did the exam, he wrote a nice summary on a blog. It's really valuable to read. The questions of the current exam are about topic X, Y, and Z. That gives me a bit of focus because the AWS service spectrum is huge, about 200 services with a lot of updates every year. So you cannot be a master of all. So you have to focus a bit, and those blogs, they really help you to focus. But at the same time, I also believe that there are people that don't like self-study and they prefer class-based training. And then you go through a trainer and have a training for, but I believe it's 3 days to prepare yourself for the exam.
Just watching Cloud Guru modules back to back.
That's something you can do, but then you end up in watching a lot of hours to a Cloud Guru, and not everything might be relevant for you, depending on where you are in your career. If you are a starter, then probably every movie or every hour of content is important. But if you are going for recertification, then you most likely are going to focus on the things, your weaker points, or updates on the exam.
And talking about recertifications, what's different? Because you have to do them like every 3 years. Have you ever had that the contents of the exam were outdated or renewed, or?
In the end, the content is always outdated, because there's a whole process before an exam makes it to the students, and it has to be validated, etc. So the reality is always 1 or 2 years upfront compared to the exam itself. So it's always a bit outdated, but they keep updating the exams. So, for example, the focus is a bit shifting in the DevOps exams from the automation tools, the older automation tools based on Chef, etc., to pipelines, for example. And Lambda, of course, is getting a bigger and bigger position within the exams. Of
course, AWS is constantly innovating, bringing out new stuff. So I can imagine that the contents of such exams will they need to be updated, of course. Even the console changes in appearance, so it's even harder to keep up with some of the examples that are already available. But that they take those into account with the recertifications, of course.
So technical updates, yes, but also maybe a shift in focus. What you see right now, that the focus is more and more towards CI/CD. Now, previously it was about provisioning. So those are two completely different topics. And serverless is getting more and more important. Data, and what also always is a key thing in AWS certifications is how to get your stuff to AWS. So there's always a question about a migration path, for example. So expect topics like Direct Connect, the Snow family with Snowmobile, Snowball, etc.
Okay. Yeah, and we spoke about it a bit already, Karlijn. Here at Oblivion, we do appreciate at least the certifications and growth and development.
Yeah.
But how is it? What kind of culture or mindset is behind this? Would you say?
We don't really push for certification, so it's really something that is in your own DNA or something to develop yourself or to get new certifications. It's also a bit in our culture, so we really focus on sharing knowledge, these kind of things. So people really want to grow as a person on personal level, but also on technical level. So I think it's really in our culture to get certifications and to achieve them. Also, some colleagues that are still a bit behind getting them. It's not that we really push them to get the certifications, but it's really supporting from all our colleagues that they ask sometimes with a wink, do you already achieved your certification or are you still learning? So I think it's really something that we really think it's important, and all the people that join Oblivion also feel not the pressure but the willingness to get one or two or the whole journey.
Yeah, I've heard about certification races before, for example. It's really just a way to really demonstrate also our own knowledge and also make ourselves and others proud when because we do cheer when someone finally passes a very tough one or
we always publicly share it in Slack or on LinkedIn now also, so that's nice.
It's indeed very embedded in the culture because you don't want to stay behind your colleagues, and what I also really like, because this makes sense for technical guys, engineers, consultants to get AWS certified, but what I also like is that if you look to our sales force, everyone is certified, and then in the end also our management also is fully AWS certified. So it's deeper in our culture than you would expect from a company.
Yeah. So it's indeed the motivation of people themselves, but it's not that we really push like within the first 3 months you need to get your first certification or something. It's in the way you are going to achieve them.
And they see a split, right? They see also very curious people who are willing to extend their knowledge and not do a deep dive on a domain which they already master, but also want to explore new things. For example, if you are an engineer building, it's very bold, but building landing zones, and suddenly start to study for an AI certification path, that's completely different, but it's welcome.
Yeah, and also the certifications, the numbers keep growing, as you mentioned. 5 or something when you started. I think we're now counting 13 different types of certifications at different levels. We know some who also managed to achieve all of them, and even that is hard to keep up with the ones that are coming out. But still, it's really nice to see indeed.
So that's hard in multiple ways, because in the end you have to study on topics which are not really in your sweet spot, which is difficult because if you look at the AI ML certification, that's really difficult. That's a completely different world than working with VPCs, for example. So that requires a lot of energy, but also the number of new certifications. We are on 13 now with the SAP specialty added recently. Now we don't have much experience in the SAP world, so getting certified is a big thing. And then you already know that within 3 years you have to recertify.
Yeah.
And to keep 13 certifications alive, that can be a pain. Also reserving the time for it is of course often a topic that makes it hard to keep studying. How do you manage it, for example? I made the mistake to get a lot of certifications in a very short period. So that means that the recertification train is driving his way, and within 3 years it will come by and hit me on all these certifications at the same time. So I have only 3 months to to get recertified on the most crucial ones. So luckily the specialties are a bit spread out over the year. And now, how to keep up to date? I think it's a matter of still work with the stuff. Get your hands dirty. I can say, well, I'm a CTO. I'm not going to touch the console anymore. That doesn't work for me. So every now and then I have to touch the console, work with services. Recently I thought, well, maybe my Kinesis knowledge is a bit lacking behind. Let's start a Kinesis project in my spare time. So I'm working on that right now, which also makes my recertification a bit easier.
Okay, yes, because also what we already touched on, just doing the certifications will really not guarantee any real life experience or practical hands-on results.
Yeah. And as an employer, we also facilitate doing study on certifications, but also on other levels, so personal or other technical development. So during the year you get some days, off is a word saying, but you get some days to spend on training, certifications, doing exams, etc. to really keep up with training and development. So
it really helps out, at least for the last push to really get the time in for some areas of expertise.
Indeed.
And the cool thing is it has never been a big discussion about getting certified. If you look at our people who have 30 certifications or 12, I'm pretty sure that they spent almost no time on certification during office hours. It's because they find it so cool to work with the AWS stuff that they start studying during outside the office hours, during the weekend, for example, preparing for the exam during the weekend. So it has never been a discussion. And now with our budget, it makes some time free to work on all the development.
Yeah.
So but staying up to date on all these topics, like we know AWS What's New, the blog, it's being refreshed almost a few times a day. So how do you filter out all the stuff that's coming in?
It's quite a lot. So it has to be something you really like, because otherwise it's just noise and you ignore it. Especially within this topic, certification, it's difficult because everything announced today is not relevant today for your certification. You have to keep it in the back of your mind because it will probably will be introduced in the exams within 2 or 3 years from now. But it's really cool to follow the development of the services, so you have a bit of a background and understanding how all the AWS services, how they actually work, which makes it easier to answer the questions during the exam. So the update itself is not relevant, but the development around the service, that's key.
Okay. Also for you, Karlijn, perhaps to round off already, any tips for people who are just starting, either practitioner or exploring the certificates in general?
I think what I see within our company, that very experienced guys like Steyn really knows what a good path could be for you, so where you are now, and for example, if you have some goals, I want to become a security specialist or something, that guys like Steyn or other experienced people can help you with the journey to achieve your goals. I think that's important, so really set up your goals for like this year or the upcoming 3 years, and then look which certifications are suited for achieving your goals in that case. So
good point, I think. And for you, Steyn, any from experience speaking?
So a very safe certification path. If you are not technical or are a newcomer in this area, would be, of course, get the practitioner first, and then the associate, and then to pro. But if you're already using AWS, then practitioner maybe doesn't make sense. It will probably feel as a bit of a dull exam, to be honest. Although there are questions in the practitioner which we will not find in associate or pro, for example, about AWS support levels. And the team around enterprise support, for example, that's none you cannot find it in the other exams, so that's completely different. But if you are not technical or a newcomer, practitioner first. If you are technical, I would always start with the associate, and then depending on the field, your area where you're working, again, a safe path would be solution architect. But if you are coming from a development perspective, maybe the developer exam makes more sense. But in the end, then later on you switch to solution architect. And then depending on, do you want to become a broad and experienced person? Then you probably want to do the associates first, and then maybe one of the specialties and then pro. But if you are focusing on a specific area, for example, machine learning, you simply go straight forward to to the machine learning ones. But don't forget to do the other ones as well, because still, if you are working with machine learning, security is a thing. It's really important to do that. So it's a bit of a priority, which you are going to do first.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, nice. Well, thanks both, and everyone watching, thanks as well, and we'll see you in the next episode.